morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to be taking a look at Copperajah V Max. You see, we had a look at Copperajah V the other day. Very nice Pokemon, huge fan. As a fun little side note, we have actually now got the set art for Copperajah, because Copperajah was a promo which is given out when you buy boxes, which means it's got different artwork from the Copperajah in the set. Now we can see both artworks. And we were told we were getting a Copperajah V Max when they made the official announcement for Rebel Clash, and they've actually shown us that the Elite Trainer box is themed around Copperajah V Max, which frankly I didn't see coming. So we knew we were getting Copperajah V Max. We've got Copperajah V Max. Is it actually any good? Well, if we start off having a look, we've got the joint highest HP of any Pokemon card we've ever seen. Up to now, the record holder was Snorlax V Max with 340 HP. This also has 340 HP, making it the biggest Pokemon we've ever seen. Then we add in the retreat cost of 4, which gives us access to buff padding, which is pretty awesome. And we add in the fact that we can search it with Pokemaniac. And honestly, the only bad thing about this, and it is a significant downside, weakness to fire. Welded X, things like Reshiram and Charizard will be able to get a one-hit KO here, except you're a metal Pokemon. So you're probably using Metal Frying Pan, which means you take 30 less from attacks and have no weakness. And you may well be using Lucario and Melmetal's GX attack, whereby you take 30 less damage from all attacks to your metal Pokemon for the rest of the game. And all of a sudden, in order to get a one-hit KO, your opponent needs to do 400 damage without weakness. And there are Pokemon that can pull that off, but not easily. Something like a Blacephalon GX would need to Lost Zone 8 energy in order to get a one-hit KO. Possible, but shall we say a little bit impractical. Make no mistake about it, this is probably the hardest to KO Pokemon we have ever had. Highest HP, but we can take away its weakness, which is what separates it from Snorlax V Max. Snorlax V Max doesn't have Metal Frying Pan, which means this becomes the hardest to KO Pokemon ever. Which means even before we get to the attacks, if you want to play a ha, you can't KO me, I'm going to be healing and using stuff like Super Scoop Up Pokemon, this is your best option. Whack a Metal Frying Pan on there, use Lucario and Melmetal's GX attack, heal with stuff like Mallow and Lana, and I mean, look, what you really want here is going into the expanded format where you've got stuff like Max Potion and Ace Roller, and just whacking a Metal Frying Pan on there, using Lucario and Melmetal's GX attack, and basically trying to make sure that you never, ever get KO'd. And to think, a little while ago, we were using Wailord, who had 250 HP and a weakness. Ha! I mean, to be fair, he only gave up 2 prizes, not 3, but again, you should be able to basically never give up a prize here, if you build your deck correctly. But we do have attacks here. What do we have? Well, the first attack, and our translations do come from the lovely Antoine Boulet. Lovely person. Helps us out of our translations. One of our favourites. And what we see for 1 metal, and another metal and a colourless energy, 2 metal, 1 colourless, it does 100 damage, but if your opponent's active Pokemon is a basic, it does 200 damage. It's alright. It's not phenomenal. It's alright. I mean, being a metal Pokemon, you've probably got Metal Saucer to accelerate energy. And you do have the option here of using something like, top of my head, Solgaleo Prism Star, which will allow you to accelerate a whole bunch of energy. 1 from your discard to any of your Pokemon for each Pokemon your opponent has actually got in play. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. And then you're doing 200 damage, which isn't quite enough. If you play this with Arceus and Dialga and Palkia, you then do 230, and that gets a one-hit KO on something like a Zacian for 3 prizes. And Zacian is played with ADP, so there's an option. And also, right, Zacian's just not KOing you here. Zacian is not getting a one-hit KO. It's not happening. Of course, if they've got a metal frying pan or something along those lines, you're probably not getting a one-hit KO either, but shh. It's a decent amount of damage, but you're not getting tag teams. Things like Mewtwo and Mew coming in at 270 HP, you're not getting a KO here. Even something like Zacian, you're not getting a KO. And there's things like Blacephalon and Dedenne and Keldeo that you are getting a KO. But all tag teams and most Pokemon V are not going down to this attack. And that's a genuine issue. It's a lot of damage for free energy, but you're basically getting single prize Pokemon and some GXs. It's not as good as it first appears. 4 energy, 240, I'm alright with that. That's cool. I mean, it's expensive, don't get me wrong, it's expensive, but 4 energy, 240 is nice. Now you are getting some of the weaker tag teams. Do remember that Pikachu and Zekrom has a resistance, which is kind of upsetting. And you're getting pretty much every GX, except for the odd stage 2. You're still not getting Pokemon V Maxes. They start at 300 with stuff like Morpeko. So, yeah, you're not getting V Maxes here. But you are getting a lot of Pokemon with this. And 4 energy is a lot. But with Metal Saucer and Solgaleo, and in theory a Pokemon that's just never going down, we can actually make this work. It is an expensive attack, and we don't have the best energy acceleration for metal Pokemon. We've got some decent options, but not 4 energy every turn kind of thing. You know, we're used to Zacian, who uses free energy and has an ability that can get energy on itself, albeit it will end the turn. We're not used to 4 energy. But I think that the way Copperajah VMAX works is you're not going for, look at me, I'm one-hit KOing everything. You're going, look at me. If you get some energy on, I can do some decent damage, and I'll one-hit KO a bunch, and I'll be 2-hit KOing a bunch of other stuff, but that's alright because I am the hardest to KO Pokemon you've ever seen. I've got the joint most HP, but I've got the tricks which can keep me on the field for a very long time. Actually, earlier I didn't even mention the resistance to grass. If you end up against a grass Pokemon, you're even taking another 30 less, just in case it wasn't hard enough to KO you anyway. I am not saying the attacks on Copperajah are bad. But I am saying that when you're comparing 4 energy 240 to 3 energy 230, that's not a particularly fair trade. Zacian's attack is better. And I know Zacian's attack has a downside that says you can't attack next turn, but that's never been a problem when we've had it on so many Pokemon. And I do like the flat 240 with no downside. And there are a whole bunch of Pokemon you're going to get. But VMAXs and tag teams aren't going down to this. The only tag team you'll actually KO here is, I believe, Gengar and Mimikyu. And if you add a Vitality Band, you'll also get Greninja and Zoroark. And that's it. And with a Vitality Band, you will also get every GX that's ever been printed. I believe none of them went above 250. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. And you'll get every Pokemon V, because the biggest of them is Zamazenta with 230. So that's cool. The thing is, when we looked at Copperajah V, I was very clear in that I thought it was a phenomenal tanking Pokemon. 3 energy, 90 damage, and you take 30 less next turn, and then you combine that with Lucario and Melmetal and Metal Frying Pan, you do 90 damage for 3 energy and take 90 the following turn with no weakness. This is really just an extension of that. The V lets you do 90 damage while taking 90 less. This does 100 or 200 against a basic for the same cost. But you only take 60 less next turn, not 90. But you do have 120 more HP, but you do give up an extra prize. And then, whereas Copperajah V does 180 for 4 energy, this does 240. This is just a jacked up version of Copperajah V. And it's good. I don't think you're going to be rushing a prize race with Copperajah. either the V or the V Max. But I was a big fan of the V as a tanky Pokemon, and I'm a big fan of the V Max as a tanky Pokemon. If anyone can come along and one-hit KO it, that's sad. And I've been talking about Metal Frying Pan being amazing, and it is, but don't forget we are getting a Tool Scrapper reprint in the next set. I.e. the same set this comes out in. So with a Tool Scrapper getting rid of your Metal Frying Pan, that will change things a lot. But I'm still giving this 4 Wassies, and I still think it is a great, great tanky Pokemon. I'm a fan. But I'd like to know how much of a fan you are. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are still awesome and very much worth your time. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.